Okay, this is a sutra, a discourse from the Samyutta Nikaya. We have 5 books, 5 collections of the sutras, and one of them is called Samyutta Nikaya. And this particular sutra is about hindrances. And that's our goal today, to try to keep our mind away from the hindrances. So let us read this sutra and try to understand what are these hindrances and what they really do to our mind. Okay. Can you read together? Okay. At Savatthi, the Brahman Sangarava asked the Buddha, "Why is it, good Gautama, how does it come about that sometimes sacred words I have long studied are not clear to me? Not to mention those I have not studied. And how is it, too, that sometimes other sacred words that I have not studied are clear to me, and not to mention those I have studied?" A Brahman, means those days an educated person, came and asked a question from the Buddha. This is about remembering. This is about memorizing and remembering. He had this problem. He's a Brahman. He memorized all the Vedic text, all the mantras. That is what he was doing. So he has this problem that sometimes he forget the mantras that he studied so well. And sometimes, suddenly, he remembers the mantras that he hasn't studied very well. And this could be even for us, right? Sometimes, we know that the name of that person, but for some reason it doesn't come to us. Right? And then after a while, out of the blue, suddenly you remember that name. Right? So that's the kind of problem. And this could be even a problem for our children. And they may study really well, they memorize everything well, but when they're in the exam, for some reason, this will come to their mind. The mind becomes like blank. And sometimes even things that we read only once, we remember. This is the common problem that we all have. So this is particularly a question about clarity of the mind, the ability to remember. So whatever we heard, whatever we saw, are all registered in our memory. Our issue is not necessarily remembering things. Our issue is to how to remember them later. Registering the memory is happening all the time. But our problem is how to remember them later. And then Buddha gave a very interesting teaching why that is the case. Why sometimes we remember things clearly, or sometimes we don't remember things clearly. This is the answer. Let's read the next paragraph. Well, Brahman, when a man dwells with his heart possessed and overwhelmed by sense desires, it's a sensual desires, and does not know as it really is the way of escape from sensual desires that arise, and then he cannot know or see as it really is what is to his own profit, nor can he know and see what is not to the profit of others, or of both himself and others. Then the sacred words he has long studied are not clear to him, not to mention those he has not studied. And he's talking about this problem of remembering, and what Buddha is giving these teachings about it's how this teaching on 5 hindrances. The Buddha said that one reason that our mind loses its clarity is that when our mind is possessed by, overwhelmed by sensual desires, like wanting and craving to gratify our senses. When you have a strong desire to taste things, to smell things, to see things, to hear things, to enjoy things, when you have a strong desire, and it makes our mind unclear. It makes our mind clouded. And Buddha said that is one reason why we will forget things. When you have a strong, like burning desire in your mind, you forget things that you already are familiar with. Because when we have a strong desire, mind has to put so much energy on working on that desire. It's almost like a virus. When you have a virus working, and the body, even the computer cannot function other things because the virus consumes a lot of energy. So Buddha said that when our mind is possessed by, overwhelmed by sensual desire, and then we lose the clarity of the mind. We don't know what is good for us, we don't know what is good for others, and we don't know what is good for both oneself and others, and you also lose the memory. So, you lose the ability of remembering things. That's the first one. And then Buddha gave a very interesting example. Let's read the third paragraph. Imagine, Brahman, a bowl of water mixed with black, turmeric, dark green, or crimson dye. If a man with good eyesight were to look at the reflection of his own face in it, he would not know or see it as really was. Okay, let's stop there. And if we have a bowl of water, and simple bowl of water, very clear, if you look at the bowl, you can see the reflection clearly. When it's serene, not moving, very nice, and you see the reflection. But if it is colored, if it is mixed with dye, it's very colorful, but we can't see the reflection. And we also can't see through it, and we cannot penetrate it. It's colorful, but we can't see it. And Buddha says that is exactly the same when our mind is overwhelmed by strong desires. And Buddha says, continues from there. In the same way, Brahman, when a man dwells with his heart processed and overwhelmed by sensual desires, then he cannot know or see as he really is, what is to his own profit and to the profit of others, to the profit of both. Then the sacred words he has long studied are not clear to him, not to mention those he has not studied. That's one reason why we lose the clarity of the mind. Sensual desires, one hindrance, even in meditation, what we try to do is to handle these hindrances, and our goal today is also to keep our mind away from strong desires, strong wantings, strong need to gratify our senses. Right here, we don't have anything to gratify our senses. We don't have strong music, we don't have visual forms, attractive visual forms, we don't have strong smells, we don't have any strong taste. Maybe we had to eat lunch first, but not very strong. And so we don't have much thing to gratify our senses. So we are trying to keep our mind away from them and try to see what mind is doing. And then even we try not to develop desire and wanting for such things. Instead, we focus our mind on loving kindness or awareness of the body. So later we will also focus on the breath. And then our mind is away from that. And then we want to see the clarity and also the relaxation of the mind as a result. Let's go to the second one. Again, Brahman, when a man dwells with his heart possessed and overwhelmed with ill will. Ill will is another term for hatred. Actually, in what we call anger has different levels. The word ill will is strong. We call Vihara Vhavana. Is stronger than simple anger. It's a prolonged anger. We call Vihara Vhavana. We can get angry and then suddenly we can lose it. So that's not ill will. That's not Vihara Vhavana. That is patigha. But Vihara Vhavana, or the ill will, what become a hindrance, is not occasional, spontaneous anger, but the prolonged anger, prolonged resentment, prolonged resentment we harbor in the mind. So that's what we call Vihara Vhavana, ill will. So then the second reason that we will lose our clarity is the ill will. When our mind is overwhelmed by strong anger wanting to punish, wanting to take revenge from, and our mind is not clear. Then the Buddha gave a very interesting another example. The Buddha is a very great teacher, so great teacher. That's why he established a whole community of disciples, and he's explaining everything in very clear manner, and he's using examples all the time to make things clear. So this is the second example. How our mind would look like when our mind is overwhelmed by hatred or ill will. Imagine a bowl of water heated on a fire, boiling up and bubbled over. If a man with good eyesight would look at the reflection of his own face in it, he would not know or see it as it really is. So now, when our mind is full of anger, it's just like boiling water. That's quite clear, right? Very good example. And the water has a lot of bubbles and boiling. You can't see your reflection, you can't also see through it. Our mind is like that. It's not clear, we lose our clarity, and we forget things. Even the things are very familiar to us, we can forget things if we have a strong anger. Let's go to the second one, next page. Again, Brahman, when a man dwells with his heart possessed and overwhelmed by sloth and torpor. Sloth and torpor, it means like lethargy. It can relate to like a tiredness too, but more like a sleepiness. Like wanting to, give up, wanting to, withdraw, wanting to retire, and that sloth and torpor. Then he cannot know or see clearly as it is. Then Buddha give another example. Imagine a bowl of water covered over with slimy moss or water plants or algae. If a man with good eyesight would look at the reflection of his own face in it, he would not know or see it as it really was. That's the other factor, other hindrance actually that will destroy the clarity of our mind. Lethargy or sloth and torpor. Sloth is the laziness of the mind. Torpor is the laziness of the body. So you can have both. That's something like lack of energy. That also is a burden. It's also a hindrance, and our mind will not function well when we have that. So we need to pay attention to that tendency of sleeping, tendency of withdrawing, tendency of giving up, and tendency of sloth and torpor. And it's like water mixed with algae. You can't see. Next to the next one. Again, Brahman, when a man dwells with his heart possessed and overwhelmed by worry and flurry. Actually, that's the term for uddacha and kukucha. That means restlessness. Uddacha means restlessness. Our mind is agitated and thinking this thing and that thing, constant agitation and thoughts. And then kukucha means worries or like regrets. So when our mind is overwhelmed by either restlessness or worries, and then we can also lose the clarity of our mind. The example given here: imagine a bowl of water ruffled by the wind. So the water trembled, eddied, and rippled. If a man with good eyesight were to look at the reflection of his own face in it, he would not know or see it as it really was. So then Buddha give the example as water, but a lot of ripples with the wind. And then it's not settled, so you can't see through from that, and we can also see our own faces. And let's go to the last hindrance. Again, Brahman, when a man dwells with his heart possessed and overwhelmed by doubt and wavering. Doubt and wavering is a constant habit of doubting and not settling, not having kind of confidence or conviction what person is doing, a lack of confidence. And in terms of meditation, when you come to meditate, you think, is it the correct way of doing it? And why I have to do this meditation? And questioning whether, is it real that Buddha has taught these things? And having all this questioning mind. This questioning mind is good if you only use it to have more knowledge. But if you have like unnecessarily repetitive, mind that's wavering, and that's simply you lose the confidence, you will not start any practice. That's the hindrance too. Lack of conviction, lack of confidence, lack of settling on, and you have to have a curiosity, and you have to study and understand and settle. So we call vicikiccha, constant doubting mind. That also can ruin the quality of our mind. Imagine a bowl of water, agitated, stirred up and muddied, and put in a dark place. It's like a dark place. So if a man with good eyesight would look at the reflection of his own face in it, he would not see it, know it or see it as it really was. In the same way, Brahman, when a man deals with his heart possessed and overwhelmed by doubt and wavering, then he cannot know or see as it really is. What is to his own profit, to the profit of others, to the profit of both. The sacred words he has long studied are not clear to him, not to mention those he has not studied. But the Brahmin, when a man dwells with his heart not possessed, not overwhelmed by sensual desires, ill will, thought and torpor, worry and flurry, doubt wavering mind, but clear, limpid, delude, set in open, then he knows and sees as it really is, what is not to his own profit, to the profit of others, to the profit of both himself and others. Then the sacred words that has not long studied are clear to him, not to mention those he has studied. So this particular sutra explains what the hindrances are doing to us, how we can lose the clarity of the mind. And today what we try to do is to, at least in these hours of meditation until 5 o'clock, we try to keep our mind away from any of these hindrances. And then we will develop the clarity. And we will have clarity, clear understanding. Tomorrow we will try to practice some vipassana techniques, and so the clarity we develop right here by keeping away at bay all the hindrances can help us. And secondly, keeping our mind away from the hindrances also can give us different kind of happiness, a deeper kind of happiness. In another discourse, and there are a few other sutras where the Buddha described the same hindrances, using this language of a burden. Whenever we have any of these hindrances, it's like a burden, it's a heavy thing to the mind. Buddha said that when you have a strong sensual desires, it is like you have a huge debt to pay. Huge debt you have taken a loan or a huge debt to pay. Maybe we have a huge credit card bill. The interest are building on, and what kind of burden, what kind of it doesn't give you the peace of mind, but also it's burdensome, it's tiresome. So they say that when someone is having a strong sense of desire, it's like having a huge debt. If we can keep our mind away from it, at least for a while, at least for a few hours, it is like being free from a debt. You have no debts to pay. That kind of relaxation. And you will only experience this peace when you keep your mind away from these hindrances for a while. Otherwise, people even do not have an idea what kind of happiness it is. People in the beginning, they may feel it's boring, but they don't see the taste of it. It is like, let's say if in your shoe, if you happen to have a kind of a stone, and after a while you get used to it. You have a stone, you forget to get it out, and it's always pinching you, always giving you pain. But after a while, you're used to it, and you walk with that stone in your shoe. But one day somebody told you, or you realize by yourself, and you get that stone away from your shoe, and now you walk. Then what you feel? The lack of that pain. Unless you experience that, you don't know how free that feeling is, how relaxing that feeling is. So many people think that having more sensual desires, thoughts about enjoying food, thoughts about gratifying our senses is pleasurable. But when you keep your mind away from those unnecessary wanting and maybe keep for a few hours, and then when you experience that relaxation, that the mind free from all these burdens, and there's a joy, piti, and then only realize that, this is a different kind of happiness, more deeper kind of happiness, like you release that you experience by removing a stone from your shoe. So the Buddha said that if one can remove the sensual desire from his mind at least for a while, it's like having that relief of free from debts. And with regard to anger, the ill will, Buddha said that having ill will in the mind is like having a strong sickness. It's like we are ill. We cannot eat what we like to eat. When we are ill, you cannot eat what you like to eat. And when you are really, really angry, ill will, you don't have feeling like enjoying food. And you only want to do something to revenge or whatever. You don't enjoy what you see, you don't enjoy what you eat, because this is a strong anger over here. So, and if you can keep our mind away from that, it's like recovering from a sickness. If you are sick for a few days, a week, strong flu, all the pains in the joints, very difficult, cannot move, just have to be in the bed for a few days. Imagine that one day after a week, you recover. Now you feel comfortable, your joints are no more pain. What kind of release you will feel? Buddha said that exactly that's the kind of relief you will get if we can keep our mind away from ill will. That is why we want to practice loving kindness. Keep our mind away from ill will or hatred, and experience that joy of release. And then the third one is slow tantopa, tina midda. And Buddha said that having a tina midda is like you are being imprisoned. You are incarcerated. Like when you have tina midda, you don't feel like moving, you don't feel like going, you are stuck in one place. Like maybe in your room, in your house, and in the same place you don't feel like doing anything, lack of energy. It's like being imprisoned. And if you can get rid of that, it is like getting released from a prison, and you can go where you like. Third one is uddacha, kukucha. The Buddha said that is like when we are suffering from restlessness and worries. Buddha said that you are like being a slave to someone. You don't have free will. You are being a slave to someone. You only do what your master said to you. When we have restlessness and worries and regrets, you have no freedom in the mind. You have been driven by those mental states, and then you are like stuck again. So when you are free, you are given freedom of declaration of freedom, right? And you're released from slavery. A third one, vicikicca, is Buddha explained that when you have vicikicca, it's always like uncertainty in the mind. You don't know what I'm doing, right thing or wrong thing. Do I have to do it? Why I have to meditate today? Why did I come today? I should have done something else. And all those thoughts are like vicikicca. When we're having those thoughts, Buddha said it's like a person who with a lot of valuable things with him, and then going on a journey in an unsafe area. You never know whether you will be able to keep your valuable things, or even whether you will be able to save your life. You're going through a very unsafe area when you're carrying very important things. You never know. It's always uncertainty, always fear. And then getting rid of that vicikiccha is like after walking through such a unsafe area, you come to your neighborhood. You know the people are friendly, you have no fear, you're confident. That's the feeling when you get into vicikiccha. So that's in another sutra. So that's our goal that we want to continue. We want to keep our mind away from. And so we try our best to the next 2 hours also to keep our mind away from these hindrances. And that way we can develop the clarity of the mind, and we can enjoy and experience the joy of release. Okay. Now we can have a tea break. So I think the tea is prepared over there, but I would like you to teach you how to drink tea with mindfulness. So you can take your tea and come back to the hall, and we will drink tea together with mindfulness. Okay.